And Jesus here, it's, like I said, teaching the masters of the law. In John 3, where probably all of us know the famous verse, John 3:16, says that for God so loved the world that he gave his only Son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish or die but have eternal life or everlasting life. Remember that he was giving this knowledge, he was giving this answer to a Pharisee named Nicodemus. Nicodemus asking, how can I be born again? How is that possible? How do things can be? And Jesus gave his teaching, and he started his teaching. He started the answer to Nicodemus saying, you are the teacher of the law, and you do not know these things. How can you teach about God if you don't know him? On the verse, like a continuation of verse of the chapter 8, Jesus would tell the Pharisees, you do not know me, and you do not know my Father. If you knew me or knew who my Father was, you would know me. You know that I am what I'm saying I am. And continue the John 3:16, the chapter. He says, I go there. I have the Bible in my hand. Yeah, he says, for God did not send his Son to condemn the world, but that through him the world might be saved. Right? And he who believes in him is not condemned, but he who does not believe in him is condemned already, for they did not believe in the name of the Son of God, the only begotten Son of God. And on verse 19, Jesus explains what the condemnation is. He says, this is the condemnation, that the light has come into the world, and men love darkness rather than light, because their deeds were evil. Jesus is saying to a Pharisee, one more time. And remember, Nicodemus, it's one of the Pharisees that people believe, that wanted to believe in Jesus. They are willing to really believe in him because he comes to Jesus and asks those things. Like, I think that what you're saying is right. So convince me because I want to believe in you. And Jesus gives him this answer, but we don't have a record of Nicodemus repenting and turning his way to follow Jesus. So Jesus is saying, they loved darkness rather than light because their deeds were evil. That we can interpret that like Nicodemus loved his position in the church. He was a well-respected teacher. And he knew that if he believed and he said that what Jesus was saying was right, he will lose his position. He will be put into shame. People will scatter him on the streets, and probably he will lose everything he had. We can bring this nowadays when we claim Jesus, when we said people, I am Christian. We need to understand that we're not our own anymore. We don't belong to ourselves anymore, but we belong to something greater. We need to understand that our actions will be seen by others, and people will try to see Jesus through us. So it's not just saying that you believe in Jesus, but you have to live with him. 1 John will say that he who walks in the light walks with him, talking about Jesus. And he who does not claim Jesus with their lives walk in darkness. And darkness should be interpreted as our own desires, as our own wantings. Guys, and that could be anything else. Anything. To be honest. Like, I want this car so much that I'm willing to rob a bank for it. Or I want to pass this class so much that I'm going to cheat on this test. Who never cheated? I never. Just 3 times. But we were called to something greater than us. We were called as Christians to portray who Jesus is. If Jesus is a visible image of the invisible God, we are the visible image nowadays of the invisible Jesus. Can you have that in you this morning? That people will try to see this invisible God, that people try to describe, oh, God is like the air, that you cannot see, but you can only feel. I don't like this analogy at all. But we are those people now. We are the ones who portrayed God's image.